I know that we tried to collect all the scrap iron that was available, and like I say, rubber was a scarcity too, especially tires. And I remember trying to collect scrap iron from the shipyard there in Moorhead and around the automobile repair shops. And the scrap iron was being brought in Moorhead by the train loads. And prior to the war, the scrap iron was brought in and it was shipped to Japan, not knowing that it would be turned into weapons and it would all be coming back at us. But after the war started, we still collected scrap iron for our own war effort. In the latter years of the war, I did spend some time working at the shipyard there in Moorhead on some of the warships that were brought in for repairs. There was a lot of activity there during the war years. We had a lot of PT boats, we had a lot of RC rescue boats and minesweepers. And these boats were operated by what we called 90-day wonders. They didn't know much about handling boats. And they would even bring the boats there at the shipyard and get the underwater repair work accomplished, and they'd get ready to leave the docks and they'd run them high and dry aground. Damage the underwater project, and had to come back to the shipyard and more repair work. But I remember this, and I was there helping my father a little bit in the machine shops. We also, my grandfather was in the fishing business, and I loved to go shrimping with him, and a lot of the seafood we got was used in the war effort also.
The effect of the military on the local economy was great. Everybody who had a room that was not being used would rent it out to the wife of somebody who was stationed in the area, would get home occasionally, or sometime they'd be the couple. The sanitary restaurant was then in the building where it's Key West, I think, is the latest name on it. They've changed names a few times, but the line of people waiting to get into the restaurant to eat would go halfway down the block, people standing in line to get into the sanitary to eat. I think at that time the advertising was we can seat 300 people, 30 at the time or something like that. But it was a lot of people, a big influx. Every building that could be refurbished to make rooms or apartments available was done so. Places that had been abandoned for years were refurbished to make way for the people coming in. These houses, like you see right across the Rendell Street, most of them are scattered all over town. They were built for the civilian workers were at the base and for the military. At that time, you had to be either a military person or a civilian working at one of the bases on a strategic job. But those homes sold for between $5,500 and $7,000, equipped with electric hot water heater, a stove, and a coal heater. And now some of them are over $300,000 because of where they're located.